Brooklyn, live from the Brooklyn Book Festival. Welcome one and all. I'm Kathy Wright-Lewis and we are Power in the Pen. We are Writers Workshop located in Brownsville at the Brownsville Heritage House. That's our usual home, but since COVID, this is where we meet, right here. Thank you so much for coming on. Thank you, Brooklyn Bookends Book Festival, for having us, for hosting us. We appreciate this opportunity to share our work with the world. We pray that everything you hear tonight is going to be uplifting to you in some way, that you will be able to hear something that will make you want to write. And if that's the case, you're welcome to join us. Our writing workshop is free to the public. It was predominantly started for Brownsville residents because there was nothing like that in the community, offering a space, a workspace for writers. So we know that there are voices from Brownsville. It's my childhood home. And I know if there's a place where there's talent and there's protest and there are amazing stories, it's Brownsville. So yes, Brownsville Heritage House is our home, and this is where we choose to work from and who I open my heart and my ears to. So I'm a retired teacher, adjunct professor from Medgar Evers College, and an author, published author, and I learned how difficult it was for us, the seemingly voiceless from Brooklyn, from areas that have been impoverished, that we don't get to be heard like other people do. Well, our stories are just as powerful. And I wanted to create a space where we could tell our stories and an avenue for us to have them published for our children, for our community, for our lineage, and just to pass these stories on. So I'm going to give you a brief disclaimer. They're going to touch your heart. These stories will touch your heart, so be prepared and hold on tight. I'll line up this evening, before I go on, the Brownsville Heritage House Executive Director is Miriam Robertson. I want to acknowledge her. She's made it our home, and we just love her and thank her every day for the opportunity she gives us to be at home at the Heritage House. All right, so here we go, folks. The lineup for this evening is Caroline. You'll hear from Ms. Caroline, then Ms. Betty, Ms. D. Journey, then Ms. Katanya, then Taylor, then Zachariah, Ashley, Kathy Ann, Diane, Nisi, and then myself. And I'm going to ask you, you will hear some give feedback to the authors. This is just how we usually conduct our workshop. You must read aloud. You must prepare something. And it could be any genre, any background at all. And all we ask is that you read it aloud and be open your heart and your ears to some loving criticism. So we'll give some feedback. We're asking if you want to give some feedback, please hold it to the end, or you can drop a note in the chat. You know, if you hear something that you really, really like and you can't wait until the end. But we will provide at least 10, 15 minutes at the end for people who have questions about the work that you're hearing. All right, so feel free. The authors are ready to answer your questions and listen to your feedback as well. So we are honest but not brutal. So please do the same. All right, we do it in love, and because we want to make sure that we're understood completely. So with no further ado, we're going to get started with Miss Caroline Miller.
Hello, everyone. My name is Caroline Miller, and my poem, We Kneel. We kneel. The struggle is real, and we kneel in peace to decrease the deceased. We kneel. We kneel in protest. We kneel in request. We kneel in prayer, aware and ready to repair in the open air the broken and stolen. We kneel. We kneel because of the higher power. We kneel in frustration, frustrating every frustrating power. Yes, we kneel for change. We kneel in strength, weakness, and meekness. We will continue to kneel in our pain to stay safe. We kneel. We kneel in our faith. We kneel in our fears. We kneel in our tears as we bear every unfair care in horror and terror that occur. We kneel. We can kneel and we will kneel. Yes, we kneel and continue kneeling, not to fight, but they fight. Because we kneel in confidence and reverence, embracing our Black and brown skin, God's permanent, magnificent gift, not sin that we lift. We kneel. We kneel in silence, but we won't be silent because on our knees we are as loud as can be, sending echoes across this nation, other nations, yes, the globe to unfold and get a hold of basic humanity and sit in harmony to the best of our ability in quality, quantity, sacredness, graciousness, and blessedness. We kneel. In kneeling, we say justice for every injustice, looking to God with a prayerful nod on our weary knees, because we are reminded daily in our Black and brown shell, we are able to tell very well in our court of near appeal, the struggle is real. We kneel. The volume of peace we speak on our Black and brown knees, honoring the deceased, God's great masterpiece. Therefore, we continue to kneel. We kneel. Drama at the border. Call your mama, call your papa. The whips are out, never before. The cowboys are out, never before. And the no is louder than ever before. Haitian migrants, Haitian migrants, Haitian migrants, they are here. Not everywhere, but at the Texas border. And there's an order, send them away, send them away, send them back to their lack and to be attacked. Echo the cracking of the whip. Many had to dip and rip from cowboys standing guard at a place where their ancestors, free labor, sweat and blood built, and they can't enter. No entry for you. Your ancestors are gone, and so are you. Desperate and in a stoic state, Haitian migrants stood in ankled water, not afraid, stood in knee water, not afraid, in waste water, not afraid, because traveling thus far, faith dismantle fear, exhume strength that is in their DNA, the same manner of strength as it sailed in their ancestors. Their strength cannot compare. This belief and belief echoes across the rescue nation with its lighthouse reflection. When rage uncaged at the Haitian migrants' dismissal, many entered this land with similar historical background and called America home. Decades ago, centuries ago, even yesterday and today, the bold no pierce the Haitian migrants who are a part of the Americas, Central America for you. America, the finest first world land, has given despair to many Haitian migrants upon their arrival for survival in this freedom helping land. Thank you. This is the end.
Thank you, Caroline. Thank you. You can give it up for her. Also, if you have a comment, put it in the chat. I just want to say, I'm going back to the first one, We Kneel. And I just love how you put every single possible aspect of kneeling for every possible purpose we use kneeling in, in there, and this is the second poem is like an example of why we kneel, it's they go together. So I think it's wonderful what you're doing. I love your pacing, I love your rhythmic patterns, your rhyme and your meter, everything is a great job. Anything else you want to say to Caroline, please put it down, find her inspiration. And thank you for speaking out and having the courage to do so. All right, let's keep it moving right along. We don't want to talk too much, we have people to hear. All right, come on, Miss Betty.
Hi, I'm Betty, and my first poetry is entitled The New Horizon. Embracing a new day as the sun rises. Expectation and hope is on my side. Strategizing my plan with a purpose. Yes, a new day, a new opportunity to venture into a new horizon. As pain and suffering lies ahead of us, but somehow I know there's a breakthrough. My people have suffered far too long, always at the back of the line, the bottom of the list, eating crumbs from your table. You have called all the shots. A new horizon is taking place, and we are out to get what's ours. Land, freedom, job, and justice. We want our pay for building this nation. Cheap labor, ha ha. We didn't get that. Only the sweat of our brow from sunup to sundown. Our forefathers lost their lives, but we are still holding on because we are God's children. And he said, let my people go. Until shackles and chains are broken, you will always have wars and plagues throughout this nation. New horizon is on a breakthrough. No time to lose. It's our time to rejoice and arise for the future. New horizon, new horizon. Far, far too long of waiting. The tables are turning and justice will prevail. We have the mighty hand as our guide, our rock, our sword, and our shield. With God on our side, we have the winning hand. No one can stop us. It is all in his divine plan. The first shall be last, and the last shall be first. Roll up your sleeves, take off your hat, for the new horizon is standing strong and tall. You can't get around us, you can't go over us, and you can't go under us. You must come in at the door. Only one man can let you in. When he said it's finished, it's finished. He paid the price a long time ago. The Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end. New horizon is on the move. He said we are his people. Amen. My next poem is entitled the awakening soul. I am a shadow that's trying to escape from a world so full of hate. No matter where I try to turn or run, the heavy weight rests on my shoulder. I'm a shadow that can only be seen at the reflection of the sunshine upon my spiritual being. Living in a body, possessing a soul. I'm housed in a body everyone knows. The outside appearance no one cares to know. So it covers the soul that tells the story that need to be known. The pigmentation of my skin has brought so much trouble to my soul. The world that sees only the outside reflection, never looking to see the inside, the secret place where God and I communicates. If the world could take just a moment and listen to the inside of my soul, where the love and joy has a story of its own. A shadow can't do anything without the soul. It tags along wherever I go. It's always there, but only seen from the reflection of the sun. Whether it be winter, spring, summer, or fall, my soul points out the way I go. Like walking down on a lonely road, no one cares, no one knows, that's being judged by others, was passed along from generation to generation, not taking the time to turn on the light that reveals who I am through the eyes of my soul. The shadow is just a reflection of me, but the soul reveals my identity. The world sees my shadow as I climb the ladder, seeking for truth and rights, for justice. Listen to my heartbeat and feel my soul. It's crying out for the world to know that God created me in his likeness and image to reflect changes in this world as we know. So don't judge me by my shadow. If you must, judge me by my soul, who holds the key to unlock the door that shows who God created me to be. My identity is who I am, not the shadow that follows me. So look real close and see my soul, for that's the one God wants you to know. The resting place where the truth is told can only be found in the awakened soul. Thank you.
You're muted, Mama Cat.
Thank you, Miss Betty. I love the way that you have the shadow versus the soul. That's just so powerful. The shadow that they put on us, you know, what the so-called humanity sees us, inhumanity, how it sees us. So thank you so much. And please put some comments in for Miss Betty. If anybody wants to give any feedback real quick, we could do a couple short ones, or you could hold it to the end. Anybody want to chime in? Okay.
I will. I put in the chat, but I'll just say it. I love the hope and certainty in our freedom that came with the first poem. And I love how in the second poem you honor the darkness that comes with oppression, but there still was no lack of hope in that. So both of your poems came with the hope and honored the reality of what comes with being us and the oppression that comes with that. And I think that was very great to have those two poems right after each other.
Ashe. Thank you, Taylor. Perfect. Perfect. All right, beautiful. All right, folks, let's keep moving on. Next up is our own D Journey. D, unmute yourself.
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Daphne Dennis, aka D Journey, and this poem is titled "The Marketplace," and the song is by Fasol Prod, and it's titled "The Walk." So sit back and enjoy. Sitting in the marketplace during lunch break, aroused by the scent of cuisine that overflows the place. As her soul and mind travels in a space where there's no pace or time. She arrived at a place with a familiar aroma she was used to back at home. It was as if she was sinking into the memories and being sprayed by God's cologne. She sat on the fourth chair to the right, near the soul food section. Girl, the food was smelling just fine. The sounds of laughter and joyful smiles overcame the place. Kissing one another, greeting one another. What brings souls together? Maybe it's a love. Or maybe it's just seeing each other face to face. Forget that so-called deadly made up COVID virus. Forget that so-called deadly made up COVID virus. Forget that deadly so-called made up COVID virus. Forget that so-called deadly made up COVID virus. We just gotta pray, y'all. For real though. Let us pray. Devil, devil, leave us alone. Before I spray you with God's cologne. Devil, devil, leave us alone.
Hola. What the hell is going on here?
All right, let's hear it for D Journey. I love God's cologne. Okay. That's dope. Yeah, the devil need to leave us alone for real. Anybody else want to comment? Come on, Kathy. Yeah.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. I love the sexiness and
I agree with Kathy Ann. That was fabulous, Daphne.
yes, yes.
I've always liked to see you when you start getting into your dramatic scenes. That was awesome. That was well put. Like Kathy said, God's cologne. Oh, wow, that's awesome. I'm complete.
Yes.
But to juxtapose it against all this madness that's going on, I haven't seen that approach. You know, I've seen that approach. Like you really ain't phasing us, you know. We're powerful and all of that, you know. Let me
Yes.
get to you real quick. Beautiful. Yeah, give it up for her. That's our beautiful D Journey. She takes you on a ride every time. Every time. Marketplace. That's
Yeah.
what's up. I didn't mention before, some of the poetry you're hearing and some of the excerpts you're hearing are from our latest anthology. So I'll tell you at the end, how to purchase it if you want to. And we'll be out on Sunday at the book festival, and you could come out there and meet some of the authors and purchase it as well. We gonna have to get her a record deal. I don't know about that.
I'm telling you.
Yup.
Oh, Lord. Okay. All right, let's keep it moving. Very good. This is awesome. Next person up, who's following the journey, is Katanya. So come on, Katanya, you ready?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, come on, tell them what you're doing.
All right, good evening, everyone. My name is Katanya Trent, and tonight I'll be reading an excerpt from a memoir that I'm currently working on called 22 and 6, born on 11/26. Dear Diary, 11/26/2017. My baby was born today. Yes, today, at home. I delivered him by myself, and he is only 22 weeks. I don't even know how to feel right now. I'm numb and just confused. My original due date was set for March 27th, 2018. Wow. How did this happen? Why did this happen? I'm heartbroken. I'm not okay. It was November 26, 2017. I woke up around 4 a.m. on the couch in the living room from having mild cramping. The night before, I was so determined to get some Christmas decorations for the house, so I took a drive to the Tanger outlet in Riverhead. Everyone seemed to be out because it was insanely crowded. I decided to go to Marshall's instead, which was about 15 to 20 minutes away. After spending a few hours walking around and looking at every Christmas item in Marshall's, I bought decorative pillows. I can be very indecisive, but being pregnant made it even worse. I felt good to be out and get some fresh air. When I got back home, Kareem was still at work. So I ate dinner, watched TV, and fell asleep on the couch in the living room. I got up to go get some water and lay back down. As I was trying to go back to sleep, my eyes wandered as I heard Kareem upstairs getting ready for work. I could hear the sound of the shower running and the TV on. He always watched ESPN in the morning to see the highlights from the previous night games. I decided to go upstairs to get in the bed, which was way more comfortable. When I walked in, Kareem looked surprised to see me come strolling in so early. I am not a morning person, and if you know me, you know I do not get up unless I have to. What are you doing up so early? He said as I walked in. Oh, I think I'm having contractions, I responded jokingly as I laughed. I told him how my stomach was a bit crampy, but I felt okay. With a serious look on his face, Kareem stopped what he was doing and asked, "Are you okay? Should I stay home from work?" No, I'm just joking, babe. The cramps were minor, and I didn't think it was anything serious. It felt more like a light menstrual cycle. Besides, I was only 22 weeks pregnant. I got in the bed as he finished getting dressed. We talked for a few, and he went off to work. I turned the TV off and buried myself under the covers. After a few hours trying to get comfortable and fall back into a deep sleep, I was still up. I tossed and turned as I was still feeling those same mild cramps as I did when I woke up at 4 a.m. My mind wouldn't let me get comfortable enough to fall back to sleep. So at 8:22 a.m., I decided to call the emergency number to the doctor's office and left a message. Around 8:30 a.m., I received a call back from one of the midwives I had seen at the office. From what I recall and noted, we spoke about 5 to 10 minutes in which she asked me a series of questions. At the end of our conversation, she said something to the extent of, I shouldn't be too concerned. She stated, I wouldn't recommend that you come all the way up to Stony Brook Hospital, which was about 30 to 45 minutes away, depending on traffic. As we were saying goodbye, the midwife advised me to stay hydrated and to rest. I will call you later to see how you're feeling, okay? Well, she never called, nor even checked in after everything transpired. After I hung the phone up, I sent Kareem a quick text message to let him know I contacted the doctor. At 8:50 a.m., the phone rang. Hey, are you okay? What did the doctor say? Kareem asked. Yeah, I'm fine. She asked me some questions to determine if I need to come in or not. She didn't think anything major because I'm so early. She told me to stay hydrated and to get some rest. Okay, but are you sure you're feeling okay? I can let my boss know I need to come home. Yeah, babe, I'm all right. My stomach is a little crampy, like it was this morning when you left for work, but I'm fine. Okay, you should drink a cup of tea and take a bath, Kareem suggested. Throughout the 5 months that I was pregnant, I experienced a lot of stretching in my stomach area. So from time to time, I would take a mild warm bath to help soothe the discomfort. Okay, babe, I will do that and relax. Call me if you need anything. Okay, love you. Love you too. After I hung up the phone, I used the bathroom for the 20th time. Well, not actually, but I had gone so many times I stopped counting. I ran the bath water, turned the TV on in the bathroom, and got in the tub. About 10 minutes in, I noticed the cramps that I was experiencing started to increase. It had become very uncomfortable to sit on my butt. I decided to get out the tub immediately. I sat on the couch in our bedroom with just a bath towel wrapped around me. My mind started to wander as I knew something was wrong. I texted my sister at 9:36 a.m. I think you may need to take me to Stony Brook Hospital. After I put the phone down, I walked to the closet to put on a shirt and some underwear. The repetition of cramps increased even more now. I could not sit at all. I text Kareem, you need to come home now. With no question, he responded, okay. I can't explain why I never made an actual call at this point. I was more focused on trying to process what was going on, but I knew I needed to contact someone. The cramps were still fairly mild, but they were recurring nonstop. No breaks excuse me. Cramp after cramp, pressure after pressure was rapidly increasing. As things were fastly happening, I did not have time to be in fear, nor did I have time to comprehend what was really about to happen. I was in labor, but had no idea. I texted my brother-in-law's cell phone at 9:53 a.m. Tell Colleen to call me, please, or text me. I made my way back over to the couch where it was easier to try and sit again. I for sure knew something was wrong, and I had to act immediately. One more try. I picked up the phone at 9:59 a.m. and called my sister. No answer. So I called my cousin who lived around the corner from me. No answer. I began to feel as if something was taking over my body. I hurried up and lay down on the couch and placed my cell phone on my chest. An extensive amount of pressure quickly built up inside of my entire body. I extended my legs straight and stretched my left arm out to hold onto the top of the couch. I took a deep breath and my water broke. It felt like I urinated on myself. And without any hesitation, I dialed 911. As the operator picked up the phone and started to speak, I began to float away. I was no longer present in my body. I no longer could feel. Everything seemed so cloudy but calm. I could vividly see myself lying on the couch. Even though I physically could not see who was there with me spiritually, I could feel the presence of my deceased father and brother. But there was a stronger presence, which was unknown. The feeling of the unknown presence was vibrant and strong. I could feel how my soul was being held up on each side as I floated above my body. They were present to hold me through the process without explanation as we silently watched. I later found out that my great grandmother passed away after giving birth to my grandmother. She never got a chance to see her baby, hold her baby, let alone touch her baby. When I found out this information, it gave me goosebumps. It was validation of who that unknown presence was. My great grandmother was with me, ensuring I would live to see my child. She was my protection, so what happened to her would not happen to me. The operator picked up, and I could see how I proceeded to speak. I am 22 weeks pregnant, and my water just broke. She asked me for the address to the house, and I provided her with the code to the keypad to get inside. As I'm providing her with this information, the unthinkable happened. I glanced down to see a blurry, brownish, bluish head in between my legs, pushing through my underwear. Is that what I think it is? I frankly thought to myself. I may have glanced down multiple times before even mentioning that my baby was here. My mind wouldn't allow me to believe what was my reality. Is this a joke? Am I alive? Is this even real? No way, not me. At 22 weeks? Somebody please wake me up now. Home alone. No one physically here to guide me, comfort me, and to let me know if everything will be okay. Just you and I as you enter the world. No crying, no screaming, no moving, no kicking, no breathing. Just blue and extremely blurry. I told the operator what was happening and that my baby was halfway out. She instructed me to pull him all the way out. I removed my underwear and slowly pulled. I did exactly what I was told without feeling my hands move to touch my son as I pulled him all the way out. He was so small, so fragile, so brown, and so blue. He was unresponsive, and I didn't know what to do. We were still connected by the umbilical cord, you and I, mom and son. The operator instructed me to wipe his eyes, his nose, and his mouth. Try to get all the fluid out and wrap him up in the towel, she said. I couldn't move. I didn't want to move. I was stuck, but remained still, physically and mentally. The operator stayed on the phone until the responding team arrived. Moments later, I can hear the sound of people running up the stairs. Police and the EMTs flooded the room. I stared in total shock and couldn't speak. I was still watching from above as I slowly scanned the room. I saw an oxygen mask being placed over my son's mouth. I saw as the officer squeezed air in and out of my baby's lungs. I watched as my baby's chest rose up and down as I could see the lining of his rib cage. I saw the umbilical cord being cut and my baby being placed in this foil-looking paper to keep him warm. I saw one of the EMTs look at me in the eyes and said, "Ma'am, it's going to be okay." I saw how everyone in the room was doing their absolute best to help my son and I. I watched as if this wasn't happening to me. God, what did I do so wrong for this to happen? Why me? Not knowing at the time, but at this very moment, God was applying pressure in my life. He was putting me in this situation because he knew I was the right person who could physically and mentally handle this. Everything I had been through in life had been in preparation for this very moment. God had been setting me up my whole life for this so he can bring them out of me. He is forcing me to walk in my calling and to bring the absolute best out of me. He is trying to break the flow in my life. A transformation was on the rise, and this traumatic moment would be the shift I needed to open my eyes as he is pushing me into the deep. During the time the responding team arrived, Kareem called my cell phone. From the last text I sent him, he asked and received permission to leave work early. Unfortunately, he had no idea that my water broke and I had the baby. The phone rang and I handed it to an officer at the scene. She spoke to Kareem to let him know what had transpired. He was on his way home. I couldn't imagine how he must have felt when he heard the officer on the phone. I can't imagine the thoughts that were scrolling through his mind. I can't imagine the fear of not knowing and not being at home with us. I can't imagine how long it may have seemed for him to get home. At that very moment, did he feel himself float away like I did? Did everything seem surreal and was blurred out? I was walked outside from the second floor of the house as baby Kareem was held in that foil-looking paper by an EMT, still unable to feel as my feet hit the floor to stand, to walk down the stairs. Unable to feel the brisk November air hit my body as I walked outside the door. Unable to feel the hands of those who helped guided me to the ambulance. At this very moment, my guardian angels were seeing us off as they walked us outside to ensure we were safely in the ambulance. They walked me through the process and stayed to protect us. I was still in a state of shock, but I felt absolutely nothing. I now know that it was nobody but God. And I'm complete.
Wow. As always, I thank you for your courage to recall this story. For those who are on and hearing this for the first time, this is her, this is a true story. This is her memoir. And she could tell you more about it at the end if you have questions about why she's telling her story. So, my position, my job is to give concrete criticism. So, I have to separate myself from the emotional aspect of it, but I'm just always so blown away at what you had to endure, what you fought through, what you experienced. And I can't imagine writing it and reliving it like you're doing. One of the parts I want to revisit with you, and I hear some things that you put in that you didn't put in before, and I'm imagining it's happening because you're seeing it more now, and you're feeling it more now, especially the supernatural parts, because that's real, and when your spirit separates from you, that outer body experience that's an opportunity to leave, but you chose to stay, for your baby. So it's powerful just writing about that, but it's tricky too, because you're here. So the time is different, right? You're experiencing it and you're looking back at it too. So there are places I'll leave some comments about, changing like the time, whether it's here and now, because when you're talking about him, Kareem, like I wonder, if what he was thinking when he saw this, when he came home, how did it, how, I can't imagine. So are you saying like, are you thinking that at that time, or are you thinking that at this time? So that's my question about that. That's why I was like, is it can or couldn't, so is it a flashback, or is it, that in that time, that's what you were wondering, and you're going to do that a lot in, throughout it, because you are going back. So you have a several, flashbacks go throughout the story, and it's just amazing. So don't sweat it, of course, but at those points, we'll work on those points, to make sure that that's clear, because sometimes they are a flashback and you're just flashing, going back, and you use that past tense, but if you're talking about right now, when I think back, I wonder if what he could have been thinking, to come home and know that, everyone was, that you were gone and the worst had happened, so, whew, okay. So anybody else want to add anything to it? It's just mind blowing every time that you read it, and as you're building it up and you're strengthening it and making us see it and go through it with you, just thank you, Katanya. Thank you so much.
I
Very
think
powerful story. I'm sorry, very powerful story. And I could just feel like almost being her, almost the way she reads it and describe what took place. And I have to commend you, a very strong woman, and God continue to bless you.
Thank you, Miss Betty. Somebody else?
that took courage for her to do that, and I really admire her for the strength it took her to go through that and to sit here and tell us about it. Great job, Katanya. I'm complete.
Terrific job. I love it. I love it. I love it. Every time I hear it, it makes me want to hear more of it. But you're brave, and you're doing a great thing by telling your story so other people could know, what's going on, how things happen. I think it's terrific, Katanya. Keep up good work.
Thank you, ladies.
I would have to say the same. And in terms of like the writing, the details that come with the beginning, because I've heard this story a few times, like I literally have a physical response because you start with the minuscule, what seems like minuscule, like I went to the bathroom, I went to the couch, just, and then I'm just like, oh, okay, you know, and then things escalate and I have a physical response of, I feel the fear, but I also feel the part that you added about the spirits being with you. I felt that too. So it was very much a physical experience hearing you read it and guiding us through all of those feelings at the same time.
All right, everybody take a deep breath. Thank you, Katanya. Look at you, you did it. You got through it. Thank you so much. Beautiful. All right, all right. Next up is Taylor, and I'm going to ask you again if you have you want to write a question or two and wait for the end and ask. We have a Q&A at the end, so we'll be able to hear from anybody who's listening, and please chime in and also consider what you would write if you wanted to join the workshop, okay? Because this is how it goes. We give the feedback, we're open, we're loving. I've been in workshops where people were brutal and cruel and ended up, you know, making others want to leave because they didn't feel supported. That's not what we're doing here. We're sharing, we're going through it with you, you know, and everybody understands that feedback is just to make sure your work is as good as it could be, you know. So I've even read I read my work also, and they give me feedback on my work. So it's what we want to make it, you know. So please join in. And I want to recognize people who are on. John, who is the illustrator for our last anthology, he's on the piece. John, thank you for coming on. Kareem Proctor, always supportive. Thank you. We see Lisa's on. Elijah Dennis, and I don't know who the last, I just see a number, but thank you for being here. Okay, come on, Taylor, you're up next.
Good evening, everyone. I'm going to be sharing 2 new pieces tonight that came to me recently, so I'm excited to share them. The first one is called America's Integrity. It's inspired by the Met Gala has an American lexicon, or the Met has an American lexicon exhibit. And one of the pieces of clothing that was displayed was called Integrity. So this is called America's Integrity. Presumptuous that it can fit on a quilted dress at the gala, that the puffy bedsheet bubbles faded in patch, reminiscent of something from my ancestral memory, made and prayed over in a shack, now a quaint nostalgic accessory to America's integrity. A performance, a secret. Under the dress, under the couture, under the eagerness to perform, it is screaming to be let free. From the denim dream of hard work, cowboy fantasies, extremists, genocidal petri dishes looking for forgiveness, I imagine those quilts and bed sheets draped over those white ghosts in those white rooms with flowers they've never seen and cotton that doesn't forget so easily, once christened an ancestor's home, or covered her child near the heat to protect her from the cold, to protect her from America's integrity. My second poem is called Joie de vivre, which is a French saying that means exuberant enjoyment of life. Chasing it and redefining it after each tragedy, even the ones I missed. I cosplay as the Black woman who can still find it. Exuberant enjoyment of life. The blood-drenched warrior, fighting for a chance and a laugh. Deep cuts flowing into deeper cuts, still standing. Trailing monarch butterflies on the battlefield. Picking lavender bundles amongst the shrapnel. Collecting rocks between the smoke of bullet holes and missiles locked onto my womb. Don't applaud me and praise these shaky knees. Televised tears that can't choose between falling or hiding, the way my weapons are still shining even after all these years. Don't applaud me, please. Instead, look at my lavender bundle. I picked it myself. The bees didn't mind because there was more than enough. See how the stems reach out when you put them together like a fan of purple? Smell them with me. The balance of an overwhelming welcome taking over your nose and chest. Admire the monarch butterflies I can count before the sunset. See the way they glide with the wind, but also conduct the breeze when it's time to land. Sit with me in this minefield and admire the rocks I've collected. Their geographical stories etched across their rough edges, sometimes smoothed out by the ocean's grace. Please, stay here with me. This is my battle. This is where I need your cheers the most. I am complete.
Ooh.
Wow. Amazing.
The personification, the metaphors, oh my God.
Wow.
The televised tears. Don't applaud me. Oh, go ahead, Kathy, and you were going first. I'm sorry.
I was just in awe, really. Oh my gosh, it is so beautiful. That last piece. Both of them are beautiful. I mean, I heard about the Mets and the bedspreads and all the craziness that went on over there, but that's another story. But the last piece is just as Kathy said, the metaphors and amazing. Put the name of that one in the chat for me again.
Oh, sure.
In a minute, yes, put it in. What can you say? It's excellent. I'm complete.
Anybody else want to give some feedback? What did you hear?
Amazing, amazing.
That's what-
I loved it, and I just, oh boy, just took me off on a travel, like I'm traveling someplace, and I just really enjoyed it. God bless you. Sorry.
Mhm.
It was just wonderful, Taylor. You always do a good job. When you get up there, my ears is open. I was like, okay, what did Taylor got to say today? But it's terrific, Taylor. I loved every minute of it. And waiting to hear more of what you got. I'm complete.
I loved it, Taylor. Just the usage of the color purple. And then you have the French title. It's just, it works together. Yeah. I'm loving it. I'm complete.
Taylor, you took it to another place. You took me to a place that of peace and love. And I thank you for that. I'm like Kathy, yeah, the second one. I like the first one, but the second one just blew me away. I'm complete.
Okay, John is saying, good job, everybody.
Yes, yes.
I'm just gonna
Mhm.
I'm just gonna say the first one I liked. It was I love the wordplay on the word integrity of how you showed how it, you know, in spite of all the craziness that and the publicity around it, about how bringing it back to actually how clothes go into, and it was beautiful.
Mhm. Mhm.
Thank you all so much. I will admit the second poem was harder to do.
Mhm.
Just being a Black woman and trying to find joy and where people put their energy. Like that one was a little bit more emotional. But that one had, that one has my heart.
Yeah, yeah. You can tell. I can tell. The first one was it was exquisite though, because most people don't think about that. Every time I look at that thing, the Met Gala, I mean, you kind of lost for words for what people are trying to, some of it's just so powerful, and then it goes from the crazy sublime to the crazy, but there's so many powerful statements made, so you captured like all of that, within that poem. But the second one, you've got, this has to be published, you definitely have to, put that out there. I see your mom is on now. She missed part of it. You might want to be able to give her, if we have time at the end, we'll do it again, okay? Thank you, and thank you everybody who's on. That's amazing, Taylor. Thank you so much. That was beautiful. Okay, who's following Taylor? Come on, y'all. Next up
It's me, Zachariah. Hello, everyone. My first poem is entitled, I Surrender. My spirit surrenders to my calling and my rightful walk in my gifts and my talents. No matter how much I ran away from my calling, it kept knocking. People would give me confirmation of conversations with spirit. I must let go of all of my fear to leave New York City because failure and fucking up means that I've learned what doesn't work. I surrender to the image in the mirror and accept the new version of myself that I'm still getting used to. I relinquish my self-sabotaging behaviors, thoughts, and patterns that felt safe in my subconscious. Stop being afraid of love because it's who you are under all the tough exterior of a human. I surrender to the unfamiliar. It may be scary, but it's an opportunity for me to be present. I relinquish the self-sabotaging that was safety. I knew I wouldn't be able to make others happy. I surrender to making little Zena proud no matter what comes. I surrender to me. So my second one doesn't have a title. I miss you, Mary Mays Jackson. I really wish we could have one of our talks or prayers right now. Thank you for all the prayers you prayed for me on my behalf. Grandma, I see why you call me your butterfly, because I am ever-changing being. So many times I feel you guiding me. I'm complete.
Zechariah, that was beautiful. And I know you're gonna finish that poem, because I know you're not finished, because you do some amazing work. I loved it. And it's about grandma. I love stories about grandma. Good job, Zachariah. Great job.
Zechariah, when you talk about surrendering, that's fabulous, because sometimes we're always holding ourselves back and blocking our blessings. So I thank you for reminding us that it's okay to surrender and let God take over. I'm complete.
Zachariah was short, sweet, or straight to the point, and I know you have a lot more to bring out, and just continue to write. God bless you.
I like the surrender part also, the poem I Surrender. You know, people a lot of times people say, oh, I surrender this and I surrender that. But surrendering is one of the hardest things you ever want to do. And if you are able to surrender, then it is like you've accepted and you're going to change. And there's just so much that's going to happen with you because you are letting go of some of the things that are holding you back. So that was an awesome poem, Zachariah. I really, wow. I'm like, all right, I surrender. Beautiful.
Zachariah, I definitely appreciate the fact that you didn't have a title. Titles usually limit us. So this is not about limiting, it's about exploring. So that is the fact that you didn't have a title, that really means something. God is not limiting you. He's allowing you to be limitless. So thanks for even saying that there's no title, because sometimes you just don't need a title. I'm complete.
Zachariah, I just wanted to say I love the first poem. It's important to let go so we can move forward and be able to shift forward in the next chapters of our life. So I love that you, it's like your testimony. And the second poem, I just want to say it left me with my mouth open. So it's like, I want to hear more. But good job. Good job. I'm complete.
I agree. I definitely want to hear more of the second poem, and I really appreciate the first because I feel like you wrote the poem that everyone should have a poem called I Surrender at some point in their lives. And you kind of created that example of what that surrendering means, how open and honest and real surrendering is. Surrendering isn't like, oh, let go, let God. Like it is deeper than that. And you showed us in your poem what that looks like. And that was very inspiring.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so Zachariah, healing. So that first one is just healing. I'm just like, okay, that's what acknowledgement, acceptance, all the A's that you need to incorporate in your life in order to heal. I just want to say congratulations to you because, I've known you for a little while now and watching you go through this process of loving yourself and accepting yourself. And I see that growth and you write it, so you show it in your writing and you're documenting your healing. And that's fantastic. The surrendering, the self-sabotage and the unfamiliar, stepping into unfamiliar places, the unknown. And that'll do it if nothing else will. You put yourself into the unknown and just step out on faith, as people say. You have to love yourself to do that and to grow yourself. So I just want to tip my hat off to you, so to speak, just for being able to do that and getting to that point in your life. And of course, for having the courage to write it. Okay. Grandma's Butterfly. I love it. That's all I kept hearing, Grandma's Butterfly, and show us some more about how, maybe because you're already writing it, how Grandma's Butterfly is morphing, into the incredible Xena. And then, so maybe they fall under, or the other poems fall under Grandma's Butterfly. I don't know, you could play around with it. But that's what I'm hearing. That's what I'm hearing. Okay, because you are Grandma's butterfly, and she sees everything you do, and maybe just how you commune when you commune with her. You could do a few things, but I think they fall under Grandma's butterfly. So thank you.
Well, I love I am writing that down because that is amazing.
All right. Well, you're amazing. I know Grandma thinks you're amazing too. You want to say anything else?
I'm gonna say thank you guys. I'm gonna surrender. I actually wrote before we moved, and didn't even realize that we knew the move was coming, but I didn't know that it was the poem was written before, and then a couple of weeks later we were moving.
Okay.
That's how you manifest, you call it into being and then you walk right into it. Oh yeah. Very good. Very good. All right. Any last words for Zachariah before we move on? Okay. So Ash isn't on. So Kathy Ann, you're up next. And you'll notice, those of you who have joined us, that we have a variety of genres, and you go on an emotional roller coaster ride when you hang out with us.
Okay.
All right, so up next, here's the next part of the ride.
Hello, everyone. I am Kathy Ann Woodruff, and I write under the pseudonym of M.W. DaCosta. And one part of my writing is all about romance and the fact that I truly believe that true love is possible and it can be found. We just have to maybe look a little bit harder, and sometimes it's a little bit you kiss a lot of frogs until you finally find him, right? I'm sorry, but So I'm going to be reading from, this is, the book is called Forever Isn't Long Enough to Love You. And I'm going to be reading from chapter 14. March is finally here, and I am so hoping that this weather will begin to warm up a little bit. The weather, however, is giving us a mixed bag of warm days, followed by cold days, and even a wintry mix of snow and sleet. In spite of the weather outside, my love and relationship with Al maintain its fiery temperature. As I lay in bed, I play over the last 3 months in my head. On New Year's Day, we spent an amazing day between making breakfast together, listening to music, and breaking into spontaneous dancing. We shared a day that I didn't want to end. By the time he left in the early evening, I was sad to see him go. I miss his presence. I felt like part of me left with him. I thought to myself, damn, Brenda, you're really falling hard for this man. Yes, I had to admit it. I was deeply in love with Al. Father God, I pray. I'm depending on you to hold us together because, Lord, you know my heart can't take another breakup. We both had to work the day after New Year's, so I knew we had to prepare ourselves for Thursday morning. The bright spot for me was that Al was going to be off that weekend, and we decided that we would spend it together. I pushed all doubts out of my mind. I couldn't wait for the next 2 days to go by so that we could be together again. We spent as much time together as we could, depending on his schedule and his days off. For his birthday, which was Sunday, January 13th, we decided to celebrate from the night before. I made reservations for dinner at Chez Josephine in the city. I have been there before, and the food, the service, and the ambiance are excellent. The restaurant is dedicated to the legendary dancer and entertainer, Josephine Baker. It has an intimate and romantic feel to it, and while enjoying dinner, you are serenaded by the melody from the piano situated in the middle of the dining room. When I made the reservations, I informed them that it was a birthday celebration and I wanted dessert to have a lighted candle. I was assured that everything would be taken care of, and I was not disappointed. Al was ecstatic about all that was done to make his birthday special. We left the restaurant and walked along Broadway, bundled up against the cold, as we made our way to the subway and back to the station where we had parked the car. We arrived at my apartment. I didn't tell Al about what I had planned. Before I left the house, I had spent the night before and part of Saturday decorating the living room and my bedroom. My plan was for us to continue his birthday celebration when we returned home. I rearranged some of the living room furniture so that I had enough space for a dance floor. I placed a bar-type table and 2 chairs to one side of the floor. Close by was another small table with a champagne bucket and flute champagne glasses. I strung white lights around the room and placed flameless pillar and tea tree candles as a walkway from the door to the table, which I decorated with a small vase of flowers and candles. I added more candles around the room to create an effect of a winter white night. In my bedroom, I also strung the white lights and circled the bed with blue and white light flameless candles. I had to have everything ready by the time he picked me up for us to go to dinner. I wanted him to be surprised when he came in the door after dinner. When he walked in, he was surprised. Wow, Brenda, you did all this for my birthday? He said, his smile wide, and just the look of happiness on his face. He reached over and pulled me into his arms. You sure know how to make me feel special, and you look so damn good doing it too. Saying it before his tongue slipped into my mouth, kissing me so passionately. And you taste good too, sweet, like I could suck on your tongue all night. Okay, I said, that's coming. But right now, I need you to open the bottle of champagne so we can get the party started. He released me and moved over to the table to retrieve the bottle of champagne. While he did that, I turned on the CD player and the song of Anita Baker, Caught Up in the Rapture, filled the room. I walked back towards him as he handed me my glass. His arms encircled my waist. We touched our glasses, and looking at him, I said, happy birthday, my love. Here's wishing you many, many more. Thank you, darling. I want to spend all of them with you, he said, as he took a sip, kissed me, and moved me to the center of the floor. His body moving seductively against mine, letting the sultry and sexy voice of Anita move us in our dance of love. The way the night evolved was something I couldn't have planned. As I look back on it, it seems surreal. We were, as the song said, caught up in the rapture of love. Every kiss and soft whisper in my ear fueled the desire that took over us. The seductive way he slowly began to undress me, the intense way he looked at me, the sheer passion of his caress, and finally the joining of our bodies so sweet, the sensation that rippled through us with every move we made. It took us and hurled us somewhere into the vast expanse of space between heaven and earth. Then to hear the echo of his cry of surrender and his words of passion. Oh God, Brenda, damn baby. It's etched forever in my memory. His lovemaking takes me to another level. I can see the spirit within him, and it is so beautiful. I can't explain it. I wouldn't even verbalize it to anyone for fear of them thinking me crazy. As I open my eyes that Sunday morning and turn my head to watch him sleep, his shoulder exposed, and on his left shoulder, I noticed for the first time a birthmark in the shape of a teardrop. His face so peaceful and his gentle breathing and the memory of last night filled me up and stirred up all my emotions. I know I am so in love with this man, and I will love to wake up every day beside him. Today is his birthday, and I thank God for bringing him into my life. And as he said last night, he is going to spend the rest of his birthdays with me. February came, and of course, the highlight was Valentine's Day. Unfortunately, I had to work that day, and he was sorry we couldn't celebrate. I told him I understood. And to me, all our days together is like a Valentine's Day. He agreed. That morning on his way home, and as I was getting ready for work, he called to say good morning and to wish me a happy V-Day. He also sent a Valentine's GIF with a note that said, "You're my sweetest Valentine." Of course, I wished him a happy Valentine's Day also. I told him I love him. I will be thinking of him. Just before lunch, a delivery man entered the bank with a huge bouquet of flowers. The receptionist called my desk to say I had a delivery. Brenda Lewis, the man said as I approached. Yes, I nodded my head. Please sign for me. He handed me a clipboard and I signed next to my name. These are for you. Happy Valentine's Day. He turned and walked away. I lifted the wrapped flowers, which were in a vase, and they were heavy. I got them back to my desk and I opened them up. There were 24 beautifully arranged red and white roses. Wow. They were special hybrid roses with red and white petals. He had spared no expense in buying these roses for me. The card attached said, "Forever isn't long enough to love you, Al." I could feel my eyes become moistened, but I couldn't allow the tears to fall. I love this man so much. I knew he would probably be asleep, having worked until 7 a.m. that morning. I didn't want to call and disturb him. I would thank him later. But at this moment, I hope as he sleeps, the spirit of my love touches him with tenderness and make his sleep even more restful. These past 3 months with Christmas, New Year's, his birthday, and then Valentine's Day have been like a dream. It seems that we had gone from 0 to 100 within these months. I have this feeling as if I have known him for a lifetime. I have been in 2 serious relationships and I have dated different men over the years, but I haven't experienced, but I haven't experienced with anyone what I feel with Al. I think about it, but I decided I'm not going to analyze this too deep. You know, I know in a way I can't help myself because I'm a Virgo and we analyze and dissect everything in great detail. The end.
Yes, thank you, Kathy Ann. Woo.
Beautiful.
Let's have some feedback from Kathy Ann.
Kathy Ann, that was just terrific. You know, I love listening to your, a lot of what you write. You just, everything is so particular. We know you point out everything and it makes you want more. I love it, Kathy Ann. I love it. I love it. I love it. Keep on doing what you're doing, sweetheart. Love it. I'm complete.
Thank you.
What a
Kathy
love
Ann.
story.
Oh,
What
go
a
ahead,
love
Miss Betty.
story. What a love story. And I just can't wait to read this book because it really showing how love can be, true love. And I think that's what you're describing in your book. God bless you. Thank you.
It was beautiful,
Yes.
well read, and I enjoyed it.
Hey, you all, there's a twist in here, okay? Don't let the love fool you. There's a twist, okay? Right. Because we know the path of love never runs smooth.
That's
Okay,
right.
what day the wicked is.
Exactly.
There's always something that's going to happen. So look up for the twist.
But you know what I love the most though, Kathy Ann? You're so descriptive. You really pull us in. So we feel like we're right there. We're seeing it happen. We're Brenda, we hear Brenda. We can feel Brenda. Her voice is so strong. So, and that's what you did really well. The voice is so strong, so believable. There's nothing that you say, oh, this is not possible. No, it's really, you really do well with voice. And I love your vernacular. I love hearing your accent. I love that it's in the story. They gave Zora Neale Hurston a hard time back during the Harlem Renaissance because she wrote how we spoke. And people didn't get it back then, they thought we had to sound European. But I love, and I make a point of, like Toni Morrison, I write for my people. I want them to hear themselves and hear their voices. And that's what you do. I hear your voice. I hear our people. I hear, and we're multicultural. We're a multicultural people. So I appreciate that. I appreciate that. I think that's one, and it's not easy to do it because we don't write the way we talk, because that's taboo. We write the way we were taught, so even though we're writing in prescribed, English, you're writing with your feelings and with community in mind. So I never said that before. I wanted to let you know that tonight. That's what I love about what you do. What a wonderful and graceful love scene. Not, it's graphic but tasteful and sensual, but you're like, okay, you went there without going there, so after it finished, like, woo, that was a hot love scene, even though it's so tasteful, so beautiful. It just shows that there's a way of doing that, without making it vulgar. It's not sex, it's love, and that's you showed the difference and how you described it. Yes. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah, that description of that kiss was hot.
Okay.
You better work at the end.
All right. Thank you. My brother Jeffrey is on. Hey, Jeffrey, thank you for coming
Jeffrey.
on. Thank you. All right.
Just real quickly to Kathy Ann, that it's nice to have people who look like us write about sensuality and sexuality, so that there's just another voice in what that can look like in other other people write about it, they do go to this kind of animalistic way, and they
Yeah.
kind of like exploit us, but it's nice to hear from us what that love and that sensuality and that sexuality and what that experience can be.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
and I agree, Kathy Ann. It didn't just stop at the bedroom. It continued to the after effects of the love, sending
Right.
flowers. So
Mhm.
it didn't just stop at the bedroom. So that's very important to us as readers, and especially as Black Black people, to
Mhm.
know that there is love
Yes.
inside of us,
Mhm.
and this is how it looks.
Yes.
Absolutely. Yes.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Thank you. How's it sound to you to hear everybody talk about your love story?
Well, I think that one of the there's a line between love making, sex, and and all the rest of it. You could choose to go very graphic and thing, but then that's not what I'm writing.
Right.
The emphasis truly for me is on love, on the fact that love, when you love somebody, the love making becomes it's different than if you're just screwing somebody, pardon my expression. And if you remember back in the days, those old movies, those old love movies,
Yeah.
when they showed you graphic love, they showed you things like the waves and
Right.
crashing on the shore and all these kind of things. Because I think what that did is allow the viewer to imagine their own,
Exactly.
So that's one of the things that I try to in the writing too.
Yeah.
Just enough, but I want you to also be able to imagine your love.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you accomplished that. You accomplished that.
You did.
That's exactly what you did. You kind of faded out, and everybody kind of goes off into their own memories.
Mhm.
So that's good. That's a gift, and that's a tactic, and that's a really good style of writing. Everyone doesn't do that. So what you're hearing are different styles of writing, and then just like I said, the reality of it, you make it very realistic, very believable. The voice is so strong, and his responses are so strong. So we see them, we feel them. So thank you, Kathy Ann. Thank you so much. And okay, so next up is Diane. Thank you all and just a reminder for those who are just coming on. Peace, Eartha. See my Eartha, my editor Eartha Watts Hicks is
Hello, hello.
is in the house. And you could put in comments if you wish to say something to one of the authors, and we're going to have a few minutes, but before it's over, to ask questions of the authors and get some more information about power in the pen. Okay, Miriam said that it allows you to use your imagination. Absolutely. All right, we're switching up gears again. Come on, Diane.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us. I have two books, two poems I want to read, and I'm working on a book called Let's Turn This Shit Around. It's a story of molestation. But I wrote these two poems, and here we go. Hey, brothers and sisters, it's time for healing. Black lives do matter. But before trying to convince others we matter, we must prove it to ourselves. We must love ourselves first before trying to love anyone. We must take pride in our community and support and supply our children with the tools they need to succeed in life. You can't continue killing your brother day in and day out. If so, who would you have to hang out and rap with? As a community, we must support it. We don't need to keep supporting people that don't support, care, or respect us. We, as people of color, have a habit of standing in line 2 to 3 miles long for hours just to purchase designer sneakers, but won't stand in line to vote in the primary or general elections. What are we teaching our children? I once heard each one teach one. but that's not happening. I think it's time to pray for healing. We can change the negative forces that surround us and our community with powerful, positive energy. But we must speak it into existence. We must pray for love to consume our streets, hate to flee our community, and peace for our world. Not war, but joy in our hearts to share with our children. Brothers and sisters, we must invest in ourselves so we can create generational wealth for our children, so they don't have to depend on anyone else. Invest in their education so they won't have to take out loans and be in debt for years. And let's invest in our community so our children would have a sense of pride in loving themselves, their community, and each other. We are more powerful than we think. We have our ancestors and a higher power just waiting for our requests for love, peace, and happiness. Let's show a sense of love and compassion for the next generation. Let's love, support, and continue to build on healing Black lives. Okay, my next poem is called We Have Awakened. You stole our ancestors so they would obey your every rule, order, and demand. You beat, branded, and burned them as a form of control over their lives. You raped our women to produce slaves, profit for your pleasure. You separated and divided our ancestors to keep them from bonding, communicating, and forming a family. You killed and maimed our ancestors to warn the others that they could face the same punishment if they did not obey. You strung up and hung our ancestors for the whole world to see that you was master. You belittled our ancestors to make them believe that their lives meant little to nothing at all. But now that we are still here, 500 years later, we're gonna let our children know that we come from a great nation filled with kings and queens. Our children need to know that they are in control of their destiny. Let's teach them lessons of goodwill towards men at home and school, not hatred from someone's hate-filled home or backyard. I want to thank them for all their hatred and disrespect towards our ancestors, because without it, we may not know what we know today, that we are great. And it gave us that motivation to research our history and to know what we all know today. We are still kings and queens from a great nation. Let's remember and never forget there's a higher being, and because of God, we have awakened. Thank you. I'm complete.
All right. All right.
That was beautiful, Diane, and you read it so well. I'm so proud
Thank
of you. And it's an educational reading, and I love that. So continue to write. God bless you.
Okay, we can have a couple more. Remember, the rules are you can't respond until they finish. Don't forget, okay. Well, the people who are chiming in, if you can leave something in the chat, or you could, after we're done, you can please try to save your comment till it's over, because I want to make sure we have enough time to complete everything. So somebody else from the workshop, something else you want to bring up before we go on? Diane.
Is all I say. Like, it's very honest, and it says the things that I think I told you this before. It says the things that sometimes we don't want to talk about, and I think it's important to have that in the conversation about, yes, Black Lives Matter. Yes, we are very important. We come from kings and queens, and if we don't love ourselves, then what are we saying? And I just think you bring it right to the forefront of our minds, and that's super important. I'm complete.
Thank you.
Okay, I just want to say this. I never said it before, but sitting here listening, it reminds me of David Walker's appeal because of the voice change. The first poem you wrote that to us, to the people, to the community. And then in the second poem, you were writing basically to the colonizers. You know, this is what you did. This is what you did. And then you switched to begin, but this is who we are in spite of it. You know, so I appreciate the voices and because they both are teaching. So, you know, so those who don't even realize, you know, what the history is, you brought out the history, and then you also talked about how we can improve ourselves. So I think very powerful voices that you use, Diane. I appreciate that. Diane, who said she was not a poet before. So you get a couple of people who are poets now who were not poets before. So thank you very much. And please, yes, comments. I'm seeing comments coming in. You know, good job, Diane. Excellent. It speaks to the community, absolutely, and what we need to do in order to heal. Daphne said, and thank you. Yes, absolutely. All right, so it's 7:30, and we want to make sure we get everything in. And next up is Nisi, because Ansel isn't on, right? Ansel didn't make it. Okay, so that means you're up, Nisi.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Lenora Fine, aka Nisi. I wrote a memoir. It's called My Faith, My Life. What is faith? Hebrews 11:1 says, now faith is confidence in what we hope for and assurance about what we do not see. When I was growing up, having faith in the unknown or unseen was hard because the world seemed so cruel. I couldn't understand how God created such a terrible place. But I've grown since then, and now I've a new perspective on life. I now know God is a spirit, and we need to have faith in order to be able to talk to God or to hear him. So I needed faith to believe in God. This also meant I needed to get in touch with my spiritual side, something I knew nothing about. When I was a small child, I noticed faith was always mentioned in church. After church one Sunday, I asked my mom, who is God? She replied, God lives in heaven, and he loves you with all his heart. She always taught me that if I wanted to talk to God, I need to get on my knees and pray to him, and that he'll always be around so I could talk to him whenever I was sad. When I was about 4 years old, I realized I had this scar across my chest. When I asked my mom about it, she told me that when I was 2, I pulled a cup of percolated coffee down on me, but I didn't remember. I would look at the kids my age and I saw no scars on them. So whenever I looked at my burn, it made me sad. I just started seeing myself as being different. But this will be the least of this 4-year-old's future worries. I didn't know yet, but this would be the beginning of me losing what I thought was faith. Growing up in the projects as a small girl, instead of talking to God, I chose to talk to my imaginary friends. I would pretend that I was constantly at peace and filled with joy. I had created a fantasy world where the project was my own backyard. When all my friends would come to play with me, and and I would be just as normal as them. But that didn't last long. When I was about 6 or 7, it became undeniably different. Excuse me, I became undeniably different from other children. I would be playing and running around outside, and the next thing I knew, I wake up feeling like I had been in a deep sleep. I was just playing. What happened to make me pass out? At that age, I didn't have a clue what grand mal epileptic seizures were, but I had them. It was scary not knowing when or where I would pass out. The episodes were so severe, I was prescribed an adult dosage that kept me drugged up all day long because I took them 3 times a day. I would know when I had a seizure. I'd bite my tongue and I felt like I needed more sleep. And within a half an hour of having one, I was fast asleep. There was too many of those days to count, and I'd rather not remember them. Despite everything, I'm still learning about faith. And my mom continues to remind me, believe God exists, even though you can't see him. When I question why these things were happening to me, mom still insists that God loved me and to have faith that he'll take care of me. But to but this time, I was confused when she said that to me. My mom always said having faith in God means trusting him. That he'll do what he says his word excuse me, I'm kind of nervous. That he'll do what his word says he'll do. I remember how in church the preacher said that the wicked will be punished for their sins. So as a kid, it made me wonder, if I was wicked, what did I do that was so bad that God had to punish me with burning and seizures? I would ask myself, was being a child what made me a sinner? I wondered, how can God say he loves me and do these things to me? I was even more confused, not knowing why I was losing what I thought was faith little by little each day. Mom still insisted that if I kept my faith, things would get better. But more and more, it was getting harder and harder to believe, especially since I was filled with so much fear, anger, sadness, and pain. Unfortunately, those horrible feelings always outweighed any joy or happiness I had. I became a very angry child, mad at the world because God created it. The one day when I was 10 years old, I was crossing the street on my way home from Wallbound Supermarket. There was no stoplight, so I decided to dart across before the oncoming traffic could hit me. Cars were coming from both directions. I barely made it. I was found at the entrance to the projects. When I woke up, I realized I could have died for from a seizure or be struck by a car right on the street. I began having faith in God that day. I had to learn that faith had as much power as I gave it. Sorry about that, y'all. So the stronger my faith got, the more I started believing in God's word. Don't get me wrong, I still have some doubts, and unfortunately, those doubts prevented me from receiving all God's promises and blessings. As an adult, I left New York and lived in New Mexico for 13 years. In 2008, I was diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis. Not only did it give me severe joint pain, it also disfigured my hands and toes. And 2 months later, I was diagnosed with lupus. I thought, wow, two autoimmune diseases. In other words, I have two diseases, both causing my body to attack itself. My body is hurting me and I can't even stop it. How helpless is that? First, lupus caused my platelets to drop to zero. Then it caused me to have bruises all over my body. My hair started falling out. My skin became very thin. I was in excruciating pain. Because lupus attacks the tissue in the joints, it stopped my blood circulation and destroyed the cartilages in my joints, which is why I had to have two knee replacements and hip replacements. God, why me? I began asking myself again, wasn't the burning seizures enough punishment? Back then, I felt like the doctors weren't my friends. It seemed like every time I saw one, they found something else wrong, and they weren't able to help me. So I kept asking myself, exactly what are they good for? I was in the hospital in New York one day when I saw a woman in a room across from me. She could not move any part of her body. I felt so bad for her. My compassion for her caused me to reflect, and I began to have a flashback. I thought about all the things I had been through. I realized that along with everything else I had suffered, I had pneumonia 7 times. I was so blessed to be alive. I reminisced about when my platelets had dropped fatally low to zero. That meant that they wouldn't be able to stop any bleeding. I could have bled to death from any type of cut, even one as small as a paper cut. The thought of that was nerve-wracking. And I had known people who had loved ones who died from lupus. Just then, the revelation popped into my head. I'm not cursed. God has been blessing me all my life. From that point, my faith started strengthening more and more. Since the best doctors were here in New York, I had to come home. In August of 2011, I'd been back for a few weeks. One day I was at my sister's and I didn't feel well. So I went down to Brookdale Hospital down the street. They couldn't find anything wrong, so I left and went to my mom's. She wasn't home. She had gone to Jersey. A family friend had passed earlier that morning. About an hour after I got there, I started having chest pains. So I called an ambulance and they took me to Beth Israel. Immediately, I was given a room. My sister came about an hour later. The last thing I remember was we were talking. When I woke up, I felt extremely sluggish, more than usual. So I thought I must have had one of the worst seizures ever. To my surprise, it was actually 14 days later. I had been in a coma. My dad told me I couldn't breathe on my own, so I was hooked up to a ventilator. A breathing tube was inserted through my mouth into my airway. I was comatose. I wasn't aware of anything going on around me. I was also told that at least once a day, they removed the respirator to see if I could breathe on my own, but to no avail. The doctor had given up on me ever breathing on my own. They wanted to permanently remove me from the ventilator, but my parents refused. The doctors may not have understood why my parents refused, but my parents' faith in God wouldn't let them give up on me. So were going up for me all over in New York, New Mexico, and South Carolina. Dad also told me that every day, first thing in the morning, he was by my side at the hospital. My mother worked at night in Long Island. She would get home around 11 a.m., just in the shower, jump in the shower, then come straight to the hospital. My sister was there every afternoon and evenings to give my parents a break. I'm missing 14 days in my life. It's one thing not to remember, but not having any knowledge of what happened is strange. It's like having amnesia. It's the worst feeling. Always trying to search your mind for an answer you'll never get. Yet again, I was told to keep my faith, that things would get better. Throughout my life, it was difficult to keep my faith, especially when it seems like my world was crumbling around me. But I cannot deny that God took care of me throughout every bad time. The fact that God woke me up from that unconscious state made me have more and more faith in Him. My faith became much stronger than the lack of trust I had in God my entire life. Now I'm actually embracing faith with all my might because it has given me a new life with God. Glory, hallelujah. Thank you, Jesus. I was in the hospital a little over 2 months. I spent 3 months in rehab. I had to learn how to walk again. During that stay, I had nothing but time to think about God's grace and mercy after everything I had happened in my life. I've had 8 successful surgeries with no complications because of my faith in God. By His grace and mercy, I'm fully recovered and I'm not feeling helpless. There isn't that much luck in the world. Here I'm thinking my life was some sort of curse when it's actually an amazing blessing. I had to start putting things in perspective and realizing that God doesn't put on me no more than I can bear. Today, my faith is stronger than it's ever been. Now I can't, but now I believe God allowed those things to happen to me for a reason, not to punish me, but for me to learn how to come to Him for everything I need. Whenever I did anything without God, I'd eventually fail or be extremely unhappy. Now I know I need to look at my health issues and my life differently. So I started looking at the positive side of my health issues. I see my burn as a birthmark from God. When I stopped questioning Him about my seizures, they stopped. I need to give all my concerns to God and to learn to be humble. I can admit that trying to deal with my health and my life by myself has helped me accept that I needed God's help with the things I had no control over. Since I put my life in his hands, he's strengthened me mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and physically. I am grateful I'm walking and not in a wheelchair. I'm alive because of God. Now, whenever I'm in pain, I say, thank God I'm alive to feel it. I am now living in this wonderfully exciting new life that God has given me in him. Recently, something else has occurred to me. I also had faith. I always had faith, I'm sorry, but I let my fear and anger blame God. That prevented my faith from taking me where I needed to go, to God. All I had to do was ask him for help. It's just that easy. Instead, I chose to live my life that was filled with anger, fear, heartache, and pain, thinking no one understood what I was going to. I had to return to God in church. My health issues and my other life challenges, such as being Black and a woman in America, became minor issues as my faith got stronger. I'm using my faith to break the barriers that bonded my mind, my spirit, and my life. So now my faith is growing each and every day, and I will continue, and it will continue to grow for the rest of my life. I repeat, God saved my life. With God's help, my faith has allowed me to heal myself physically, mentally, and spiritually. God created our bodies to heal themselves. We need to start treating our bodies as the temples God created them to be. Here's where our faith gets tested. If we truly have faith in God, he'll give us what we need to completely heal ourselves. Each day as I live my life, my faith has allowed me to survive the cruelty of this world, the jealousy, the hatred, the racism, the miscarriages of justice. God's words says for us to overcome the world, we must believe in Jesus, who is the Son of God. Throughout my life, although I struggle with my faith, no matter how I was feeling or what I was going through, God was always there, whether I knew it or not. I am truly blessed and I trust in God with my life. There's no better hands that it could be in. And that's what faith is, trusting that God would do what he said he would do. Thank you, Lord, for making me whole inside and out. Faith has healed me and faith will heal America. I'm complete.
All right. Thank you, Nisi. Thank you, Nisi. Y'all can unmute and give it up to Nisi.
Yes.
Yes,
That
Miss
was some,
Good job.
Very good, very good.
Yes.
Thank you, y'all.
you see,
That
that
was amazing.
that was truly a good testimony that you have, and someone is going to heal and receive Christ through listening to your reading that you told about your testimony and your life journey that you went on. And I'm just happy to see that you have grown through the process as well. And you recognize the Almighty God, who is all, He's
Mhm.
everything that we need. And we just have to continue to trust and believe that, because faith is something that you don't just, you just walk through it daily. You see it, you just know that it's going to happen. And you just have to believe that it's going to happen. Although you don't see it right now, but you act like you see it, because this will come to pass, because God will never leave you or forsake you. And I just thank you for that reading, and I can't wait to hear the rest of your story. Thank you. God
Yes.
bless you.
We could have a couple more comments.
Nisi, I just admire your strength and your truth about how you let your fear get in the way and control you. I really just admire your vulnerability. And I love how you define faith in your way in the beginning. You take us back to let us see the true testimonies that brought you to build your faith stronger and just get through it. You walked through it, you got through it. And I just admire you and commend you. I'm complete.
Yeah, I appreciate, I'm sorry.
The word of God says the and the word became flesh and dwelt among us. And as you said, you had many people praying for you. And that's the effective word of God that brought forth this healing. How many days you were actually dead and God brought you back to life? You know, so you are a walking testimony. You are a miracle. And it is beyond glorious. It is an awesome testimony of what the power of prayer, faith, because many people believed, although you were not able to pray, there were many people praying and had faith on your behalf. I am complete.
Oh, yeah.
And Nisi, I totally, again, I love your memoir. I could definitely appreciate the fact that you don't turn a blind eye to the disadvantages, because most people, they do. They don't talk about the disadvantages, but the disadvantages can be blessings as well. This is what I try to teach as well. So we have to look not only at the advantages, but the disadvantages as well, because we can learn from that too. So the fact that you included that into your memoir, and gave examples of it, it's powerful, and people need that.
Yeah.
I'm complete.
Thank you. Yeah. Nisi, I'm so proud of you. You know this. She has come such a long, long way, you know, not just in writing, reading it, but writing it, you know, and then, and of course, living it, you know, so your testimony is I'm praying. I know people will hear it and they'll be inspired. No, life is not lollipops and roses, you know, and you know, skipping through fields, you know, of flowers. You had every opportunity to just self-destruct because it appeared that everything had gone wrong and was continuing to do so. And you changed perspectives, you know, changing perspectives. So I just want to say, you know, that's absolutely amazing and life-saving. So tonight, you've been hearing, like I said earlier, some of the work that you're hearing is from our anthology, Heal America. And I know you might wonder, you know, where did people get the nerve to say they got something, formula to heal America? Well, you've heard about faith tonight, you know, as Nisi said at the end, if you could heal yourself, you could heal America, because it starts with you. You heard stories about love. You heard stories about kneeling, surrendering. Okay, you heard stories about acceptance and miracles and rebuking evil. You know, I mean, everything together. We discussed what we wanted to write, because it's been such a crazy last couple of years, and this is what came up. And I was subscribed to a religious organization called Joe Ray, and Mokichi Okada, they called him the light from the East. And he said after they were in Japan, in Nagasaki, and when they bombed Hiroshima, you know, where America bombed them with the atom bomb, dropped it on him, and his family was partly destroyed. You know, there was land, all their land was destroyed. And the first thing he thought was, we need to heal America. And the rest of the Japanese people were like, you must be out of your mind. And he said, no, if we heal America, then everybody else has a chance, because anybody who would do this to other people, you know, they truly need healing. If this is a world power, so if we heal that root, you know, then we have a chance. So I thought of this when we were thinking about what we were writing about. And so before we have just a few more minutes, I do want to give people a chance to comment. But I would like to read my poem I wrote called Heal America, which is what the book is based on, which is the title and the theme of the book, of all these wonderful works of literature that you heard tonight. Okay, so Heal America. Heal, America. We are not begging. Heal America is not a plea. Heal America is our decree. With righteous intention, it's our declaration as we utilize the power we possess. We evoke our ancestors, spirit guides, archangels to impress the insistence of healing our nation from this relentless, hateful devastation. 500 years of wickedness, we rebuke you from our existence and proclaim the era of love and unity, taking back our community. We fear no impunity because we have learned his I am presence we have earned. All power is in our hands. It's our time, so we will take a stand. All power is in our hearts. His rod removed all fragmented parts. Healed through the valley of the shadow of death, we've sprung. All power is released from our tongues. We know the way now. We've just begun. Taking back our children, our homes, our land, taking back our minds. You can no longer enslave us with your kind, smiling face while plunging knives in our backs. You have been revealed. We see you now. In fact, we're covered from head to toe. Shielded auras protect us. See how we glow? Your trickery is done. No weapon formed against us shall prosper. No, not one. No, not one of his anointed ones shall perish as long as one another we cherish. Our spirits are one. Yes, brothers and sisters, we have won. Now that we realize for far too long, our eyes were covered with lies. Today, we remove the enemy's disguise. Now we can recognize one another and rise.
That was very powerful. Was that Maya Angelou speaking? Oh my God. Miss
Yes.
Catherine. That was heavy. I really enjoyed it. It's educational, it's life lifting, and I just thank God for you.
Thank
I'm
you.
complete.
Thank you. I thank God for
Beautiful.
Kathy, when I grow up, I want to be like you.
Yes.
I want to get
be
it
like
done.
you.
Do it.
All right, thank you all. Please, anybody everybody can unmute. And if you have a question or a comment you want to make about Power in the Pen, or to any of the authors here, the writers, the wonderful authors. I couldn't do this by myself, or I'd be out here reading that poem into the mirror. So everybody is here, and I couldn't do this without you. So thank you, Power in the Pen. And I'm thanking again Brooklyn Book Fest. This is a bookend event. And I'm so grateful that we had an opportunity to share our voices so we can be heard. And that's our theme, that we believe everyone should be heard. Okay, you don't need a degree to be heard, not here. So come on, anybody who wants to speak. And Miriam Robertson is on. Yes, I know Miriam.
Yes. Oh my God. Well, you know, I love the PIP family. Powerful, y'all did an excellent job. All I have to say, for those who are not part of the Power in the Pen family, and for those who have a story in their heart that needs to be told, this is the place where to write your story. This is the place where you want to shine. This is the place where you would take hold of your destiny. This is the place where you will inspire the world to make the change. Tell your friends, your family, come and check out Power in the Pen and write your story. Hats off to every one of you. You did an excellent job. Your stories, as I always say, I'm always impressed by each and every one of you. I remember when each of you started, how it started, and now look at you now. You guys are flying high. Some of you are being published. Some of you are near being published. You are just a fantastic, phenomenal writers workshop. And I implore you to keep on inspiring. And thank you for allowing Brownsville Heritage House to be a part of your journey. I'm complete.
Thank you, Miriam, for your
you.
love.
Love you, Miss Marianne.
Thank you.
Love you, Miriam. Thank you. Anybody else want to have you have a question or a comment?
I just thank Miriam for her love, support, and encouragement. We love you and thank you so much. And everybody, yes, y'all did do a good job. Keep up the good work, family.
I agree with Diane. I want to thank Miriam for being our #1 fan, always, from the very beginning. Love you and God bless you. And continue to do all that mighty work you do for Heritage House in Brownsville. Love you. And y'all, everybody, y'all did a fantastic job. Love y'all too.
Yes, I love everybody, and I'm posting as Arthur has requested. We
Yes.
want to buy a copy of Power in the Pen, Heal America. We have 3 anthologies. This is the 3rd one for this year for 2021. So I'm putting it in the chat right now. It's on Amazon. And just thank you, everybody, for coming on. We will be at the festival on Sunday, and we'll have copies there as well. And so come to our booth 430, and visit with us. But thank you all once again. Everybody who I still see. I don't know if there are people we can't see, but if we can't see you and you're on, thank you for hearing us. Thank you for giving us an opportunity to share, and please come and visit with us. And we hope to be able to do this again. We love the connect. Thank you, Eartha. Thank you, John. I tell you, John, this is the cover of the book John illustrated when you look at our book. Thank you, Jeffrey. Thank you, Lisa Collins. Thank you, Elijah, and everyone else who we can't see or I can't view right now, but thank you, everybody. And thank you most, from the bottom of my heart, I love you, Katanya, Nisi, Diane, Zachariah, Taylor,
Love
Miss
you.
Betty, Caroline, Kathy Ann, and D Journey. Love you.
Yes, yes.
Love you too.
all.
Okay.
Love you.
Thank you for everything, Kathy, you do for us.
Yes,
It's
awesome.
much appreciated.
Yes.
I wouldn't have been
Yes.
able to write my memoir if it wasn't for you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy. I appreciate the opportunity. You gave me an awesome opportunity to, showcase my art. I really do appreciate that from the bottom of my heart.
It's my pleasure, John. My pleasure. It's all about the artists. We're just about supporting everybody and I just want to see our work out there. I'm tired of not seeing enough of our stuff. So this is our time, and this is for us to do. So I love it. And Kathy Ann will have her book on Sunday. Come on, Jeffrey, you want to say something?
Yeah, I hope that we are able to really, outside of just, of course, selling our books, but just putting the word out, letting people know, what we're doing, what we're all about, and so on. Because we are such a needed thing right now. I'm for lack of a better word, but we are really something that's needed in our community to give people an opportunity. Look at the talent. Look at the talent that's in here. You know what I'm saying? And there's a lot more talent out there.
Oh yeah.
People just don't know where to go to be able to, showcase their talent or bring their talent to the forefront and so on. Because again, if you want to even try to break into certain things, you gotta got dollars, or some sponsor that, a Jay-Z or somebody that's going to bring you along. But again, we are doing this, and it is so amazing. Kathy, you are amazing. You truly, and I'm listen, and she didn't, by the way, folks. Okay, she didn't pay me. But I just want to say that I admire you for all that you do where this is, Power in the Pen workshop is concerned. And you yourself is a very gifted woman in terms of all that you do, your poetry, your writings and everything. Oh my God, you're like a triple threat here. We appreciate you doing what for us. I've learned a lot since I've been there because I've been pretty much doing this thing solo, as you know. But I've learned a lot in getting the feedback. I will never forget Miriam when she said, that, among all other things, of course, because I've said, but I particularly remember Miriam, and she says, you should give us a little bit more about why the mother left. And I says, I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
I did put that in the book and so on. So yeah, Miriam, I thank you so much for your insights. And I thank each and every one of you for just being the awesome people that you are. God bless each and every one of you. And let's continue. Let's keep this going. I love it.
Thank you. Thank you, Kathy. And love you too. You're amazing. I'm just so grateful for everybody. Like I said, I couldn't do this by myself. It was an idea, put on my heart. And I'm just so grateful that we're here right now and doing it. This 5-6 years now. And it's just wonderful. I just heard, just do it. Just do it. I wasn't looking for any money. We just said, just do it. You never know what'll happen. And it's happening. And now we're connected with Harlem Writers Guild.
Yes.
I think that we have some amazing things to do together.
Definitely.
All right. If no one else has anything to say, we're going to conclude our evening. Okay, last opportunity to speak. All right, guys. Love you so much. Thank you once again for joining us. Thank you for being the powerful power in the pit.
Thank you, everyone.
Good night,
Thank you,
everyone.
guys. Love
Good
you
night,
all.
everyone.
Love y'all.
Great work.
Great job,
everybody.
everybody.
Amazing.
Yes.
All
Love you
right.
guys.
Love you guys.
Bye.
Love y'all.
Yes. Love you guys. Have a great rest of the weekend. And if you're not a Power to Pen people, for those who did not speak this evening, and you have a story, make sure you check us out. Check them out tomorrow. Are you guys having class tomorrow?
Yeah, we'll be on tomorrow morning as always.
11 to 2.
Same
Zoom link, same Zoom time from 11 to 2. So get your sleep on it. Ask your heart what it is and put pen to paper and write your story. You are now our future griots. I love you guys. Oh, I love you so much. Oh my God, thank you.
Love you too. Love y'all. Good night.
Good
Good evening.
Good night. Good night. That's great.
Good night.